Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be reacting to another video. This one's going to be a good one. This one is another Footy A2Z video, and I'm excited because I'm going to learn a thing or two. So this is AFL Explain the Ruck, right? So the Ruck is, I believe, like the face-off kind of thing, right? When it's got the guys jumping in the air. I think that's it. So I'm excited. We're going to learn a little bit about the Ruck. Footy A2Z, they always do a great job of explaining things. Those two guys are awesome. So if you haven't checked out their channel yet, please do. The link will be in the description. Go check them out. Give them a like, give them a sub, and check out a few of their videos. But if you end up liking this video, smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you're coming back from another one of my videos and you like my content. We're cruising up in the subscriber count. It's unreal. The community's been great, so I highly appreciate that. It's been awesome. But let's get straight into this video. I'm going to get the ears on, and we're going to get going.
Down the ruck.
The Ruck
is one of the most important positions on the ground, as they are the first point of contact at the beginning of a sequence of play.
Okay.
Usually the tallest player in the team, modern-day rucks clock in anywhere from just under 200 centimeters to ex-docker Aaron Sanderlands, who topped out at 211 centimeters.
All right. I just did the Googles. Looks like that's 6'5" to 6'9" for all my American people watching. That's pretty dang tall.
At center bounces, they leap into the air and attempt to guide the ball to the advantage of a teammate, using a combination of long and short taps, depending on their team's stoppage setup. At center bounces, the rucks start inside the center circle and can only cross the halfway line once the ball leaves the umpire's hands.
Okay, I actually didn't know that. All right, see, we're already learning. We're already learning, guys. Okay, they have to be in the circle. That makes sense. I mean, I've seen the circle. I never really knew that they had to be inside of it, but never really paid much attention to it, I guess. And they can't cross the center line until the ball is in the air. Okay, cool.
This leads to collisions in the air, and you will often see rucks being one of the few players on field to wear their socks pulled up, concealing a shin pad underneath, which they use to shield off their opponent while jumping.
Interesting.
A perfect tap at a center bounce can immediately release a teammate into space and create a forward entry, due to the room provided by the center square. When a ruck wins the tap, it's known as a hit-out, with taps that go to a teammate known as hit-outs to advantage.
Okay.
To a degree, rucks are responsible for how a midfield sets up, and depending on who's winning the tap, the midfielders may alter how aggressively they position themselves. In more defensive situations, the midfielder might come closer, and the ruck will drop the ball at their feet to minimize risk or cause repeat stoppages to run down the clock.
Okay.
In attacking situations, they'll spread the midfield wider and seek to hit the ball out of congestion. The best rucks execute this with precision tap work and can hit the ball 360 degrees around the contest by changing the angle of their hand or adjusting their starting position.
Okay, interesting. So I'm already learning a ton, but let me know. So like Mason Cox, right? The American that's playing, he's a ruckman, right? He's the guy who takes that, right? Am I mistaken? Let me know. And let me know also like who are some of the best at this in the AFL currently playing. Let me know in the comments below as well.
At stoppages around the ground, the rucks must stay 1 meter apart until again the ball leaves the umpire's hand.
Okay.
At boundary throw-ins and ball ups, a ruck's tactics and personal attributes come into play. Some are more physical, others like to run and jump, and some are a combination of the two. From a defensive mindset, knowing your opponent's strengths is crucial for deciding what you should do in the contest. When facing a stronger opponent, it's crucial that you execute your positional strategy and bodywork. Rucks will seek to gain an advantage by digging their inside shoulder into their opponent's chest, giving them front position and a stable base, which protects you from an opponent's attempt to push you under the contest.
So, you know, I suppose too, like when they're talking about it all depends on like the opponent and how they're playing and the players. But we did another whole nother video about analytics in the AFL. So you got to think that they have enough stats to be able to figure that out, right? Like I mean, there's a lot of analytics that go into this game. So I'm sure they have the stats needed to know which way to put the hand, for crying out loud. And that's It's insane.
It's best to protect the space in front and then come forwards depending on the depth of the throw. Another strategy is to stay mobile. If your opponent's best asset is their brute strength, then you know that they want to make contact. Staying on the move and starting from different angles can draw your opponent out of position and allow you to run and jump around or over the top of them. On the other hand, if you're being outjumped by a more agile opponent who likes to run and jump at the ball, then you need to disrupt their strategy in some way. Making contact to stop their jump is a good place to start, while interrupting running patterns and protecting the ball's drop zone are other effective ways to combat athletic rucks. All this, however, must be done within the laws that govern ruck contests. While attempting to win the tap, there is a strict set of rules the rucks must operate within, and it's for this reason that they feature highly in the free kicks for and against count. A field umpire shall award a free kick in a ruck contest against a player where they make prohibited contact, make contact with an opposition ruck prior to the football leaving the umpire's hand, the designated ruck steps outside the centre circle prior to the field umpire bouncing or throwing the ball up, hits the football out of bounds on the full from a ball up or throw in, unduly pushes or bumps their opponent, or holds and blocks an opposition ruck. These last two points can often be the hardest for an umpire to adjudicate, as rucks continuously grapple for front position.
And it seems like in the AFL too, and other sports, like in American sports, we get it. Like, and I'll relate it to hockey a little bit. That you get the same thing. There's a lot of like subjective calls, right? Where it's not so like cut and dry. Like, oh, you did this one thing, that's obviously a penalty. It's more, was that a bump or a push, or was it not? Like did you push him with your arms, or did you just kind of run into it? Like it can get kind of subjective, and I feel like the more subjective rules in a sport, the harder it is, and the more controversy you end up getting. It's very hard. Like in that, like for example, like watching like the ping pong video. It's very cut and dry. There's not a lot of subjective rules, or even in tennis, like it's not like a lot of subjective rules. It's just pretty cut and dry, and it doesn't leave much room for controversy. But it's interesting to think about.
If the umpire feels that contact has been made while the ruck is going for the ball, they will often allow it. Whereas if they take their eyes off the ball and go only for their opponent, a free kick will be paid.
Right.
Arms wrapped around an opponent and a tug of the jumper are two key things umpires look for in this regard. In addition, the AFL recently changed its rules to ban the third man up, and now only allows one player from each team to compete in the ruck contest. This means that if the umpire is unsure who the team's rucks will be, they must nominate prior to the contest. If no one nominates in time, the team will not be eligible to go for the ball.
Interesting. Can I just say one thing though? I love these guys' animations. Again, this is why you got to go check out their channel. Like, they need more love, because these guys' animations are not only getting funnier and they're hilarious, but they're super well done, and I really appreciate that.
Rucking is an extremely physically demanding role. When the tap is won or lost, the most dynamic rucks follow up the ball and apply tackling pressure at ground level. Good stamina is also necessary to ensure you can make it to all the ball ups and throw-ins and fulfill other roles around the ground.
Sure.
Rucks usually set up down the line from the contest to provide intercept marking and are often a designated target for a long kick-in after a behind has been scored.
Yeah. So did you kind of consider them more like a midfielder too, in a sense, where they kind of play both ends, but they like to hang out in the middle more? And I'm sure it helps being really tall. And the only real person I can think of like is Mason Cox, and how when he is good, he can be really good just because of his height and being able to take those big high balls.
Today, teams will rarely play more than 2 designated ruckmen in their list of 22, and it's common to play just 1 ruckman and have a tall forward rotate through the middle. Okay. In recent years, it hasn't been unheard of for a team to use just 1 ruck and deploy an extra midfielder when they're resting, most notably Richmond's use of Sean Grigg in 2017, essentially conceding the tap to the opposition, but having an extra rover at ground level. This has led to growing discussion on the impact of winning hitouts, and whether or not it really matters if your ruckman wins the tap. Realistically, it can depend on what your team's system is.
Yeah.
If a high emphasis is placed on winning the clearances and gaining first use of the footy, then of course a good tap ruckman will give you a better chance of achieving this.
Yeah.
But if your side prefers to rebound off half back, and you don't mind if you're not winning the clearances, then a ruckman who isn't as strong in the ball up but moves well around the ground may be preferred in some cases.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it comes down to what is the other team doing, how does their setup look, who are the players on the other team, how are they running their like strategy, I guess, and then how can you counter that? And yeah, so it all depends on your opponent, really.
So if you're watching your team's midfield run out of the centre with ease, or it seems like you always have an option down the ground, the hard work being put in by your ruckman could be one of the key reasons why.
Thank you, ruckman. All right, another fantastic video by Footy A2Z. It's awesome. I learned a ton. I'm hoping I can remember what I just learned. Probably go back and rewatch this again. I like to watch things twice sometimes, and it'll stick in the old noggin that way better. But yeah, so again, if you haven't checked out the channel, links in the description. I highly recommend you go and take a peek. Their videos are awesome. And if you like this video, I would highly, highly appreciate you hitting that like button. If it's not your first time here, I would really appreciate a subscribe as well. Again, we are flying up in the sub count, and it's all thanks to you guys. The community is fantastic. If you haven't checked out our Discord yet, the link is in the description. It's a great place to send over recommendations, have a chat in real time with me. I'm also planning a trip to Australia in the next couple years, and the community is actually the one pretty much doing most of the planning. So if you want to be a part of that, go in the Discord and check that out. If you want to support the channel in other ways, I do also have a Patreon. The link is in the description. I'm currently not making any money on my videos. Channel's not monetized as of now. That could always change. But yeah, so I'm just doing this as a hobby. But if you want to help support me and help the channel grow as far as quality and what I can put out there, go and take a look at the Patreon and consider being a patron. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Have a fantastic weekend here coming up. And yeah, we'll see you later. Peace, love, bye-bye.